Good morning, and welcome to the first Eye of the Tiger of the 2020 school year. I'm Joseph Bianchini.
And I'm Zach Galumgum.
A lot has happened since we last saw each other in May.
From lockdowns to off periods being removed, these are certainly unprecedented times. On Tuesday, a virtual board meeting was held in which the RJUHSD board introduced schools reopening during after-school hours to accommodate for students who need help with classes. The board introduced 4 phases, in which Phase 1 starts with students coming to school upon invitation from the teacher, and by Phase 4, ending with students attending school on a full hybrid schedule.
According to Principal Nicholas Richter, RHS is taking precautions in preparation for schools reopening into the new hybrid model.
The precautions we're taking in that sense is whatever club advisor or teacher that the students kind of come visit, there'll be hand sanitizer, masks will be required, social distancing at all times, and the students are going to have to actually log in and fill out a health screening questionnaire. It's very simple. It's usually about 3 questions long, which asks you, have you had any symptoms? And they'll describe the symptoms. Have you been in contact with anyone who's tested positively? Or or have you tested positively? So those are the 3 questions that you would answer. If you answer no, 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 wonderful. You put your name and date on it, and you get to come on in.
As we move closer to reopening, both students and teachers have concerns with going back to school.
Concerned a little bit. I think until there's confirmed cases in our school, I'll be all right about it. But as soon as there's one case, I'm going to be pretty concerned for the health of me and my family, because I know my brother has asthma. My grandparents are high risk, so I really hope for the best for them. So I don't want to get infected and get them infected.
My students will all be virtual, and my concern there is who will be monitoring my students who come in person.
Richter says that the school is working out the details of returning to school, including an app to check the students' health before returning.
With the introduction of distance learning, classes were lowered from 80 minutes to 60 minutes. However, due to a state law known as SB 98, students are to have a required learning time of 240 minutes. With the off period, that time is cut down to 180 minutes. However, students are still able to keep their off period as long as they fill out a survey proving their engagement to a class. This is known as asynchronous learning, where the student isn't physically in class but is still completing work for school to meet the SB 98 requirement. However, there are alternate methods of completing 240 minutes of learning. The first option would be to pick up another class or by taking a study skills class.
Now we go over to Kobe Estrada with sports.
Good morning and welcome to this Friday's edition of UTSN. I'm Kobe Estrada. On August 7th, the CIF had finalized a temporary plan to continue sports. This plan consisted of football and cross country kicking it off on December 7th, and shortly behind them, boys and girls volleyball, boys and girls water polo, and boys and girls soccer starting on December 14th. The usual start date for football is sometime in early September, but senior running back Joe Bryce believes that a later start date will only benefit his teammates and himself.
I'm just trying to get bigger in the weight room, as well as learning the plays a little better, because we do have a new offense this year. So I want to get those plays down before we go, because we have extra time. And then if the gym start opening up or I can start lifting, I'd actually want to get stronger and bigger.
A big concern with different sports being played during different seasons this year is court and field time. During the fall season, football usually does not have to share field time, but this year they must split it with boys and girls soccer. Senior soccer player Brooke Wykevich believes that with the third sport being added to share with, girls soccer may have to practice on the upper fields more frequently, causing a less game-type feel.
Personally, I don't like playing on the grass because it's not as it's not a very good level playing field. And it's just bumpy and not very good quality. So turf is just nicer to play on. And same with our games, we always play on turf. So it'd be nice to play on turf. That way we're used to how the
red flag this year is overlapping sports. According to the CIS plan, certain sports will be overlapping by at least 2 weeks. Senior quarterback Cole Earhart believes that for some athletes, this transition may be tough hopping into a new sport so late.
Be tough because football overlaps so long with every other sport, and so that's going to be a tough change because we're going to join the football players, or the winter sport will join 4 weeks into the other season, so it's going to be a tough transition.
For a full look at the CIS temporary sports plan, please visit us on Instagram at EOT News. And that's all on your home for Roseville High School sports, top plays, breakdowns, and more. I, the Tiger Sports Network, EOTSN. And now we go to Isabella with entertainment.
Thanks, Kobe. With movie theaters being closed due to the pandemic, directors have been trying to find a new way to get their movies out to the public, and streaming has been the #1 option for this. Over the past 6 months, we've seen a significant increase in direct home releases, and while there aren't as many movies coming out right now, the ones that do come out are going to various streaming services directly. For example, Amazon Prime premiered DreamWorks' Trolls World Tour for $19.99, and Disney Plus offered premiere access to the new live-action Mulan movie.
When they find out who you are, they will show you no mercy.
Streaming movies directly to people's homes could mean a decrease in trips to movie theaters in the future once they open up again. However, AMC Movie Theaters has found a way to combat this. They opened up last month with 15-cent movie tickets on opening day, the same price that they were in 1920, and they've kept the cheaper prices with $5 a piece. They'll be showing movies like Christopher Nolan's Tenet amongst a few others. It'll be really interesting to see how this all plays out with social distancing and mask requirements in mind. In other entertainment news, Hollywood mourned the death of actor Chadwick Boseman on August 28th, who lost his 4-year battle to colon cancer at 43. Boseman is best known for playing Black Panther in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but can also be credited for playing James Brown in Get On Up and Thurgood Marshall in the 2019 film Marshall. He made the heroic choice to keep his illness private and continue working on various films. He will be remembered as a brilliant man and an inspirational actor to all. For the full story on movies and streaming services, visit eyeofthetigernews.com. And now we go back to news.
Thanks, Isabella. Last Tuesday, Club Rush was virtually held for students to explore clubs being held online. Student Government Advisor Brent Maddox said in an email, "We are hoping that due to the challenge of being limited with social connections this year, even more students participate and join clubs in order to build relationships with others that share their interests and passions, or help students expand their learning by checking out and joining new clubs." Maddox said that the Culture Committee did a terrific job of working hard to reach out to club advisors and club officers to set up the event. And that's it for us today on Eye of the Tiger.
And remember, we're always on at eyeofthetigernews.com. See you next time.